What is going on, everybody? This is Jamie, and welcome to the channel Thrift on Fire, and welcome to day 14 of a video every day in February, which means it's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm gonna rock the pink today. Got some Mickey, got some. It's red. It's kind of pink. We're gonna call it pink just for today, because it is Valentine's Day. But me and John, Reselling with Jon on YouTube here. We'll throw all his stuff up on the screen right now. Same on Instagram. We did episode 2 of the podcast. Is this a podcast? I don't know. Only time will tell. We definitely need a name for this thing. So if you have any ideas of what we could call this thing, leave a comment down below. And yeah, let's get into it.
Bring them up, but I was going to write them down. I didn't get a chance. So we had a couple comments of suggested names. Do you remember what they were?
Well, I'll just bring it up now. Canadian Resellers Podcast, Great White North Sellers.
Right.
I think those were the two I'm seeing there, but yeah.
What was the first one? Canadian Resellers? Just Canadian Resellers?
Yeah, just Canadian Reseller Podcast.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Better than we've currently got nothing, so that's better than nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, 0 + 1 is 1.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously open to more suggestions here as we, I think we got a couple more before we actually have to physically figure out what we're doing. So yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. So, I think we talk a lot about reselling and in general about what we sell and how much we make, but we don't always talk necessarily about how we're sourcing things. And I guess it really depends on where you are. Like we could probably name off 3 or 4 ways that we source, but they have to be available in your area, right? So that's obviously going to be an issue. But you currently, what do you think where is most of your sourcing coming from?
Oh, this is easy for me because I am in a very rural area. So, like, to put it into perspective, the nearest actual city for me is Halifax, the capital of Nova Scotia, and it's like a 2.5-hour drive. So, I mean, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So I have a couple of small towns near me. Luckily, where I deal in mostly clothing, and partially because I have to, because of where I live. There is a chain of clothing thrift stores that I've got a store 10 minutes away. I've got another great one about 30 minutes away. So for me, most of my thrifting, most of my sourcing is done at this chain of clothing stores, which is only in Atlantic Canada because it just happens to be so close to me. I do have a Value Village about an hour away and another one about an hour and a half away. But obviously I'm, every couple weekends or so, I'll make like a day trip an hour away or so and then do like a bunch of different stores. But yeah, for the most part, I'd say like 90% of my inventory is clothing. So I'm going to that store for 10 minutes away and then half an hour away for more supplemental inventory if I need it.
Yeah. What is the store actually called? I know I've been to a few out east, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. So this one is called Guy's Frenchies. So there's a French. Yeah. So there's Frenchies stores and Guy's Frenchies. They were at one point part of the same franchise and then it's split off. But anyway, the Guy's Frenchies, that's the good one. They've got something like 12, 15 stores throughout Canada or throughout like Nova Scotia and New Brunswick. And yeah, a really good one is 15 minutes from me. So yeah, I mean, one great thing about them is that, so they buy all of their inventory, probably just buy it by the pallet or by weight or whatever, and buy it in bulk from the New England area. A lot of stuff you see has like Boston logos and things.
Yep.
And it's shipped up here. So it's a lot of times it's brands that we don't see around here or even in Canada, like at retail. And so they buy it all and it's cycled in. They use different colored tags. That piece of clothing, once it hits the floor, only has 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, it's cut up, sold as rags, for industrial purposes or whatever. So like there's always fresh inventory. Every week there's a quarter of the inventory is new. So that's one great benefit about this store.
Yeah, that is nice because I know when in my area in the mom and pop thrift shops, which would be, there's plenty of those, but they hang on to stuff for you go in there 6 months later and you see the same thing, right? Where Goodwill, Value Village, Salvation Army, they do rotate tickets and then get rid of stuff eventually. But yeah, some of the really, really small guys hang on for way too long. So it's pretty cool if every 4 weeks you're looking at new stuff.
Yeah, that's just it. I can go in once a month and I would never see the same products. ever.
That's
It would
awesome.
just never happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so thrift stores are obviously great for us. Time of the year, yard sales. That's a huge thing for me. I love yard sales. Probably if I could do nothing but yard sales, that would be my number one. I know you said in your area they're not always so great, or you maybe just don't get out often enough to them. But
Yeah, it's probably a combination of the two. Like, I'm still learning the area as well, learning like what's going on locally because I just moved here in the beginning of summer 2021. But I also had and I still kind of do, like I was doing some dog sitting and house sitting and stuff like that in my old town where I was living. And I had a bunch of these old clients. I was booked up. So, I mean, really since I've moved here midway through 2021, I've actually only been home about half the time because I've been away, like doing this other side hustle in conjunction with my full-time job and the reselling as well. So it's been a little bit hectic for the last 2.5 years, but yeah, so still just trying to get a good feel for what goes on in my area. There is in my actual neighborhood, like in my actual community, there is a like community-wide yard sale that happens every summer.
yeah,
And a couple of other regular ones that happen like just down the road from me. So I know of a few, and I've definitely taken advantage of them. But a lot of times I'm not out Saturday morning looking for yard sales because I am in such a rural area. I'm going to that thrift store where I know I'm going to be able to spend $150 and get $800 to $1,000 worth of sales out of it.
yeah. And the thrift stores, they're always there, right? You don't got to worry about a rainy Saturday.
Yeah.
The other thing I find with the community sales, they are very popular, but in my area, they seem to do them too often. So if you got a back-to-back year, the second year is not good. People have already got rid of their good stuff and they're really shilling their junk out there. So that can be a kind of a downer too. I do like community art sales just because you can hit so many at once, but I find just the one-offs is where you're really going to find something unique usually.
Definitely. Yeah. I've done a good job with done a good job with like swooping in on the, anytime I see like, hey, we're doing this for the first time or a new
Yep.
thing, I really try to prioritize those because that's where people, they don't want to do it for nothing, right? Like they want to go, if they're going to take the time to organize and set up, they want to make some money. So
Yep.
you can definitely usually get better deals that first year. And also, just to kind of supplement on this answer, I don't shy away from telling people that I'm in e-commerce, that I'm in the reselling world. Like I tell
Yeah.
people, hey, that's what I do. So if you have anything that you want to sell to me for, a yard sale price or even, a third or 50% of what it goes for on eBay or something like, or what it's listed as, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to sell for that. But like, hey, if you want some quick money, let me know. And if it's something I think will sell, I'll buy it from you. Like I'll give you cash today.
Yeah.
So I've definitely gotten some good deals that way and gotten some good inventory. And I don't know, I just think a lot of people, a lot of resellers, because there is a stigma about it, kind of shy away from maybe wanting to tell everybody that you're a reseller in case they look down upon that. But I honestly don't care. So I use it to my advantage.
Yeah, I don't mind telling people. I mean, it's usually a dead giveaway because I'm walking around with a GoPro strapped to me
Right.
somewhere, right? So they're kind of already on guard. What is this guy doing? So it's not such a stretch for me to tell them that I'm selling stuff online too.
Yep.
Two other notable things. So I did want to mention, I don't do either of these. Storage auctions, which I'd love to do, but I just haven't. And the other one is online auctions. I don't know if you've ever done those before. I've talked to a lot of people in this area that do, like, I think High Bid is one that's pretty common. I think it's all over. And then Max Sold, I think, is another one people tend to talk about that I know personally. But I just haven't really got into it. Or when I've looked on the online auction sites, I haven't really seen anything that's really it got me excited anyway.
Yeah, I've never done any storage auctions, mostly because I don't think there's really much of that around here. As far as online auctions go, there are a couple of good ones actually that I've made some money from, but it's neither of the ones you've mentioned. I'm in a couple of like just Facebook groups for like video game resellers that
Yep.
like each one of them, they've got their own night, So Thursdays it's Sam, and Sam's puts up her list of 10 things she's selling and it just auctions off, and you can create a box with them, they'll ship it out when you're ready, kind of deal. So I've taken advantage of that to, number one, add cheap things to my own personal collection. But then also, like, sometimes people just don't bid, and it's like, cool, I got this $50 game for $8. So yeah,
Yeah.
throw that in my box, and yeah, you're combining shipping. So at the end of the day, maybe 2 months later, I get everything all sent out to me, and I'm adding 3 cool things to my own shelf, and then selling the other 5, 6 things for $100, $200 profit or something. So I do that, and then there is a little local thrift store that's it's a little charity shop basically, and they'll do a little bit of that as well. And again, I'm in a very small area, so there might only be like 20 or 50 people paying attention and putting in
Right.
bids. So I mean, I've scored some really cool stuff for a couple dollars that has 50, 60, $100 value.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's nice when you're not competing against so many people. and, and yeah, so I guess so now that we have some ideas of where you would find stuff, like how important do you think sell-through rate is? So obviously you can pick things up. They could be tons listed, none sold. You could find the complete opposite. You could find a whole bunch sold, none listed. Like how much does that play into what you're picking up these days?
I mean, it's definitely a factor.
Yeah.
Definitely a factor. Being mostly in clothes, I recognize some stuff is seasonal. So if I'm going to pick it up because it's worth money, hey, I'm probably going to have to sit on it until next winter, or I'm going to, this is a summer item. But surprisingly, clothing does sell out of season, but it's still a factor for sure. And it might change what kind of stuff I focus on or look for or prioritize when I'm thrifting, but I still don't shy away from it because I know it will eventually sell.
Yeah.
That said, I do only have so much money that I can reinvest every week. I take a portion of my reselling profits from each week, my payout, and reinvest it. And then, so if I know I've only got 400 to spend this week, well, okay, cool. I can't go spend $400 on winter jackets and then not leave myself anything else, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of blended on that. It's a factor, but it's not a deterrent, I guess.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I know for me, if I'm paying up for items,
Mm,
sell-through rate's going to be something I prioritize a lot because I'm putting a lot more money out. If I'm picking up just like, well, as you can see through my month of uploads here on YouTube, I sell a lot of like lower end jeans and things like that. I could care less what the sell-through rate is on a pair of American Eagle distressed women's jeggings. I don't care. I
yeah,
paid
yeah,
50 cents probably for them, maybe $1. If I get $20 on Poshmark, and maybe if that's even still, I'm only seeing $15. I don't really care what the sell-through rate is on that, or if I have to donate it a year from now. Honestly, that stuff does sell for me on a regular basis, and that's probably a very unpopular thing to say. And I wouldn't be surprised if a few people I know say something to me personally next time I'm at the bins or next time I'm somewhere else. But it works for me. I don't. The other thing is, I was thinking about this. I've not actually said it on a video, but a lot of times I'm thinking, because especially this month where I'm showing some of the lower value stuff I'm selling, it's really not that much different than selling a cheap Nintendo Wii game for $7 to $8. It's really the
yeah.
same idea. You're not making a lot of money. It's just it's going to sell, and you just recycle that thing over and over. It does add up over time. Obviously, you want more expensive stuff to sell, but it's not always like you can find all that stuff either, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that stuff, you want the big sales, and it's the big and better sales that are going to make the real money. But
Sure.
I mean, I always think about it this way. If I'm walking down the street and I see a $5 bill laying on the ground, I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to just leave it there because, oh, it's only $5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's the
for
same
sure.
way, money's everywhere. And so if I'm looking at something and I think, yeah, this will sell quick, and yeah, sure, it is only $5 or $10 profit, but like it's going to sell probably within a month. Like, okay. I mean, if I was down to my last $2, maybe I wouldn't spend it on that. But I
Right.
mean, you know, yeah.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. But like I said, I think it's probably an unpopular opinion. And really, I think it depends too. If you're doing this part-time or casual, you might consider not picking up those items just because you might not need to because you have a full-time job and income coming in. As full-time, sure, it takes up my time to list those things, but it doesn't take up that much time, to be honest. And I have a lot more free time. and it's still income coming in. It'd be the difference of me just leaving, like you said, leaving money on the sidewalk, or am I going to pick it up and add it to, my wallet? I'd rather add it to my wallet if it's going to sell.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are your sales been? I can tell you straight up, mine have been terrible. My eBay sales have really, really been bad. You probably can see a lot of Poshmark going out for me, a few other things, and then I'm just taking offers on stuff. Honestly, they haven't been great. But what would you have your sales been, I suppose? And then do you have a notable one for the week?
Yeah. So it's interesting you say about how eBay's been down and Poshmark's been up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the exact opposite, actually.
Okay.
But the year started off really slow, like very noticeable, like it just completely tanked. But I was also listing every single day from last June right till about the beginning of December. And then I didn't list almost anything in December because we really just wanted to prioritize taking a month to enjoy the holidays, decompress from a lot of work in 2023. And you know what? I mean, we got buried in the algorithm. Like I know this for a fact that if you're not active, you're just gonna disappear. That the machine just stops feeding on you, right? And
Yep.
so to start the year, it was absolutely brutal. But I've been listing every day again for the last probably, I don't know, 3 weeks maybe, and things are definitely picking back up. Now, my sales the last couple of weeks have been padded by selling off some of my own personal collection of video games. I think I talked about it before, but I had like 150 and 64 games or something. And the reality is I just don't play them because I've got the EverDrive that has all the games on it. I could still pop it in my N64 and play on original hardware. So I was like, you know what? Let's boost it. Let's get some extra cash flow coming in, pay off a little debt, whatever, right? Make some sales. And I think by adding that in, just along with my other daily listings, it's really just triggered the eBay algorithm to be like, hey, this guy's on fire. And so that's been up. I had a really good week 2 weeks ago. It was about 1,300. I mean, for me, now I'm part-time. Obviously, everybody's numbers are completely relative to their own situation. But for me, that was a good week. But a lot of that was selling, games out of my collection. This last week, though, I'm starting to see a lot more of those clothing items go, a lot more of those regular items selling, and had almost an $1,100 week, which, again, for me doing this part-time is great. Now, some of those items were my video games, but it was mostly back into that regular inventory. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was happy with that. And a notable one for this week, well, it was funny when I was preparing for this, I opened up my phone. I was like, well, let's go to the eBay app and kind of scroll back over the last few sales and kind of see what I think. And as I clicked on the sold tab so I could see what, had recently sold, I noticed an item that wasn't there before. I was like, wait a second, when did this sell? So literally in the millisecond that I clicked on that tab, a game sold for $70, an N64 game, Resident Evil 2. So I was like, okay, cool. I guess it's this one. But a runner-up would be this Air Canada like carry-on luggage bag. It was a vintage Air Canada bag that I found at a bag sale. So my average cost of goods was 82 cents. It sold for $25, which isn't huge money, but it's going to an older guy in Vermont, and he was super happy about it. Like, it was one of those sales where kind of had a conversation with someone, and the buyer was super happy and left great feedback. And you can tell, this old guy it made his day to be able to get this item. So that was kind of notable for that reason.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the 1,100, is that across the 1,100s across all platforms that you're selling?
Yeah, that's across eBay, Poshmark, and even a few Facebook Marketplace sales. But definitely, if I had 40 sales last week, probably 30 of them were eBay.
Okay, yeah, that's really good. Yeah, so I would say my most notable one, I'm going to say offline, and it's just because you've seen everything that I've sold online this last little bit. So I just sold a Schwinn indoor bike trainer. Do you know what I mean? It's like the little stand, and you hook your bike up to it. I think I found it at Goodwill for like $8 or something. I actually picked it up for myself, and then I wound up buying an AI indoor exercise bike, which I have not used yet, and I've owned for 2 months. So you can imagine how much good that's done me. But yeah, the trainer, I wound up, they're listed all over the place on Marketplace, and they're listed high online, but it is heavy because there's a big magnet inside the thing. But I sold it, I think, for $50. I think I had it listed for 60. I'll throw it up anyway in editing. I think I had it listed for like 60, but I got 50 for it. I seen people had them listed for like 45. I just listed mine higher and waited for somebody in my area that wanted to buy it. And the guy offered me, I thought, reasonable money, and that's great. And, Facebook Marketplace, even though I don't share a lot of sales that I do on my channel through Facebook, I think last month when I tallied up all of January, I think it was about $1,400 worth of mostly a mixture of cash and email money transfers, but that was pretty decent. Like there's quite a few Facebook Marketplace sales out there if you really want to put in the time.
Yeah, definitely. And especially on those bigger, bulkier items where it's like you'd never want to have to ship that to somebody.
No.
But hey, if someone's going to come pick it up or you meet them somewhere and it's a quick, easy 40, $50. I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah, like I say, it was originally not to flip. It was for personal, and I think I got way more money in my AI bike, which is just like in the way. It's actually Renfro. Are you familiar with that company?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've got like a digital scale that syncs to my iPhone, and I'm like, oh, I'll buy this bike, and then because in the summer I was biking every single day, and I thought, okay, so maybe I'll transition that to indoors, and it just hasn't happened yet. It will. Just it's been a rough go.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of in 2018, I ran every day for a year. Like I'm a runner, so I did a run streak, did a year-long run streak, ran every day in 2018, couple marathons, averaged like over 7 kilometers a day. And then just kind of got out of running for a little bit, decided that I'll take a little bit of time off. And then all of a sudden, it's like 8 months later and I haven't gone for a run. It's like, oh crap, I got to get back into that.
Yeah. Running is pretty tough. We've talked a bunch of times about wanting to like try to do like one of the mini Disney marathons because we love Disney, and we're like, oh, it'd be fun. You don't have to run it, but I mean, I would probably train to try to run it. I doubt I could do the whole thing, honestly, even with training. But yeah, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. So interestingly enough, I'm going to say I already know what mine is, but I've thought about this anyway. But a big mistake that you've made online that you've learned from, or maybe you thought you've learned from, which is probably my case. I can tell you I've made this mistake multiple times, and I probably, unfortunately, will continue to make it. But yeah, how you feeling about that?
Well, let me see. Okay. A mistake that definitely happened a lot when I was first starting reselling, especially when I was first getting into clothes and stuff. I'm thinking I'd branch out. And if you see a cat's tail here, it's because I got my kitty on my lap. A mistake that happened that took a long time to get out of was thinking that just because I like something or thinking something is cool, that it means it's worth money or that anybody in their right mind would ever buy it. So having to separate my interests and what I think is awesome and what I would pay $20 for from what is reality in the reseller market. And so I'm thinking a lot of cool graphic tees, a lot of like really great stuff that just never sold and ended up getting donated. That's definitely a big thing for me. I'm getting better at it. I've definitely learned a lot more about what actually sells. I still take some risks from time to time if there's not good, comps and sold data to go by. But for the most part, I pass on the things that I think are cool, unless it's just for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really easy one to get caught up in, right? Like,
yeah,
I would probably have everything Blue Jays related in my house if I just picked up everything I seen. Oh, if I don't, I could sell this, or and there are certain things, that do cross over to what you like, to what will sell. But yeah, that you have to be careful and draw the line there. Yeah, I know for me, shipping is a big one, and it's so hard because I'm not going to change my ways, but I'm certainly I use flat rate shipping. Okay. And I get a lot of questions when I talk about it on my channel because people, for the most part, maybe don't understand. So essentially, if you're going to ship whatever, if we're going to ship this boot, I'm going to put that you're going to pay me $9 in Canada, and you might pay me $12 in the US, and that doesn't matter where you live. Okay. 9 times out of 10, I probably make $1 or $2 on that shipping. And then, that other time I might have to pay $15 or $20 to ship it. And it looks terrible on paper. I've not learned from this mistake because I do continue to do it. And usually I'll try to find a third-party courier or somebody to make it a little cheaper. Just last week I sold, I think you'll see it in potentially my next Polar video. So my next What Sold video here on YouTube. I sell, so spoiler, I'm sure nobody's going to care, but I sell a Woolridge vintage sweater, and I was excited about it because I got somewhere between $30 or $40 for it, something like that. I already can't remember what it sold for exactly. But I know I paid $4 for it. So I got it at a really low price, but it went to Alaska. Well, there's no cheap shipping option to Alaska, no matter what you do. Luckily through Stallion Express, there is an option that is still UPS Ground Advantage that it costs maybe like, I'm going to guess $18. It'll be correct in the video, but it's something like that I want to pay. And I probably charge them like $12. So I'm out that money, and I will continue to do that. So I haven't really learned from that mistake. But it's the same thing when anytime you're shipping something heavy, you really should probably use calculated shipping when you're dealing with stuff like that. But it's so hard.
You know what? I do calculated shipping, but I don't know that I think yours is a mistake, as long as it makes sense in the end and in the overall. So have you tracked it, or maybe this would be a good experiment? Track that over a month. Do you overall net a few dollars or lose a few dollars on your shipping? It sounds like for the most part, if you're picking a number that's generally going to be okay, or maybe even cover you by $1 or $2, then those times you do lose $6 or $8, it doesn't really matter because it balances out. I'd be interested to see, maybe this is an idea for you for a video, something you pop in there sometime as a monthly challenge to track that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I do think overall it does average out that it's okay. It's just hard to swallow when you get a big one like that. Or I had something else. I'm sure maybe it might even been in just a video recently. It was to the Northwest Territories. Same thing. Yukon, or something like that anyway. And it's like, there's like one way in, one way out. It's going to be expensive.
Well, now, is that a case though? And maybe it was too big of an item or too bulky of an item, but see, I've had that happen to me before as well when I wasn't using calculated shipping, but that's where I used the flat rate box for Canada Post. Yeah, and it ended up not being too bad. Maybe I charged $17 and it would have been $35, but it cost me $23 for the box or something.
Yeah,
so it's only out like $6. But
that's not. Yeah, within Canada, that is always like the thing to keep in the back of your mind, right? Those flat rates are pretty expensive, but in some cases it could be, if it's heavy, it could be really worth it at the same time. Yeah,
they can save your butt.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So a little bit off topic here. I know you said you have some Valentine's plans. You're gonna watch a movie.
Yeah.
Kind of hang out, have dinner.
Yeah, we're gonna have a nice lasagna, nice homemade lasagna and Caesar salad. My girlfriend, she makes a homemade Caesar dressing. It's, oh my God, it's unbelievable. So we're going to do that. Probably sit down and either watch a movie or watch a few episodes of a show or something and just kind of relax, take a nice chill evening. We don't, we're kind of, we hustle a lot. I work all day and then I put in some time on the reselling stuff too, or maybe we're going out sourcing, and sometimes you just got to take that day and it's like, nope, this one is just for us.
Yeah. I know it is. It's hard. We did a little weekend getaway, which will, by the time this comes out, it would have aired already. So we kind of did a trip to the US and Niagara Falls, Canada for like a couple of days. But I was still smart enough, even though that we agreed that was Valentine's Day, I was smart enough to still get a card because even though we agreed, if there wasn't a card on Valentine's Day, at the very least, I'd be sleeping on the couch.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. You got to at least do that.
So yeah.
All right. On behalf of John and myself, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like videos like this, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content. I don't know if we're going to hit 3,000 subs this month. Honestly, I'm trying. I'm uploading every day. So if you're watching it, if you made it this far, please subscribe, because we've got a long ways to go. And there's, we're about halfway through the month already. So anyway, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.